something? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, yeah, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
It's easy feelings long to gain. They get by a minute into force. Oh, I didn't notice it's talking in force. But only when got been by chance, and got me. I didn't think it ever come to.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me, Tamarijuana. It's another great day in the East Kootenays. We seem to be, continually having nothing but, half winter weather, but not too bad. A big shout out this morning and happy birthday to Debbie Stultz-Giffen, who is the chair for Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, as well as been an advocate for cannabis for over 2 decades. So big happy birthday going out to Deb this morning. I'd also like to give a shout out to a few of my listeners, like Bill Kilborn, who's out in Tabor, Alberta, that listens every week. And I'd like to shout out to him and hope you guys are doing okay out there in Tabor, Alberta. This morning, I have Val McCulloch. I'm not even sure if I've pronounced that right. In fact, I'm sure I haven't.
Perfect.
Oh, good. Excellent. And there.
Morning.
And she's with Shatterizer, but Val has also been an advocate for patients, and we're going to learn some more about her and her partner Matt this morning. So welcome, Val. How you doing this morning?
I'm great. I have my cannabis and double coffee ready to go. And Tamarijuana, thanks so much for having us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have people on that, we can learn from. And that's what why we have this podcast. It's an educational portal for patients to learn from experts and other patients about what their plights are and how they got into the cannabis movement. So how did you join the cannabis movement, my dear?
Well, I joined the cannabis movement when I turned 25 and I was finishing up my master's, and I just started to smoke cannabis and things went great. I didn't come out of the closet till I was on the 420 radio show. And I've been a medicinal patient since 2016. And it's changed my life.
It totally has, hasn't it? So you were telling me before that you came up from Denver, Colorado, did you not?
Yes, I did. I shout out to everyone out in Highlands Ranch. We recently went out to Champ's Trade Show in Denver, which was awesome. Saw a lot of wonderful friends from high school, and it's great to see the way that all the budding businesses have kind of expanded. Me and Matt, co-founder of Shatterizer, we did a tour of about 50 dispensaries. It was incredible. We learned so many wonderful things out there. So yeah, I came from Colorado in 1998 to go to UFT, and love Toronto. But we were happy to go into a legal market and have some fun there, both recreationally and medicinally.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people miss the point with the Shatterizer, for example. A lot of people feel that, that it's not a medicinal or a recreational, or where do you put the tool, right? Because so many of us use it, and it's a tool, right? You can use it as a medicinal tool. You can use it as a recreational tool, but it's a great tool. And that's one thing, Yeah. So how did you guys actually find this item? Did you guys sit down and actually create it and then have it made? How did you guys get this thing going?
Well, the Shatterizer is a proud Papa Bear, and he was looking for a discreet way to be able to consume cannabis. And he just, as a classic inventor, he took a whole bunch of different vaporizers. There are so many great vaporizers out on the market. And he kind of tested them all and played with them and created his own prototype. We then tested that prototype over a series of about 3 months, But we launched with an online platform so we could learn all about the vaporizer market, built up a really cool community. Thank you for everybody who's a part of #Shatterizer. We tested it and tested it and tested it, made some great friends in China. Thank you, Kevin. And started manufacturing. I mean, it's been such an amazing thing. I mean, people have taken a look at us and been like, oh, the brand is wreck. But we have connected with so many medicinal patients, and I think where we connect people is we make shatterizing fun. We make consuming shatter discreet and easy and on the go. And for those who really like to consume, we have a 15-second continuous heat option. So I'm going to hit that now.
Yeah,
so
they're
pretty
very
much
easy.
The sum of all the best parts, and then added little things that we thought were important, like a magnetic silicone wax built-in storage container.
Those are terrific. That's one thing that I really noticed about the bottom of it. It's magnetic, so you can actually like put it like on a surface, and you know it's not going to knock over because it does have a glass globe. And I know for some people that's not the best item to have. Like I know myself personally, I've had other units that had the glass globes, and I've broke them. Like they fall over. You know, one came with a plastic kind of suction cup that you could put on the table and have it suction.
What?
Yes, it had a suction cup. Like that was the holder for it, right? So you put the suction cup on the table, and then your unit would go into it. But ultimately, the suction cup would come loose and it would fall over. I don't know how many units I've broken. So when I first got this, I went, "Oh, it's got a glass globe. I'm screwed," because I've broken.
You've not broken
it
yet.
No, absolutely not.
I've dropped it a million times. I'm telling you. It's very, very durable. I mean, you just simply twist and glide it off to load and twist and glide back on. I mean, plus, you know, we really want people to be able to experience the full flavor of their cannabis extracts. So people just tended to prefer the flavor off the glass. And I mean, you really want to, I mean, another great reason to have the glass is so that you can actually see what you're inhaling or vaporizing. What's really neat is we've had a huge kind of emergence and presence in Brazil. It's called Noviza Canita Vaporizadora, the Shatterizer, and they actually really like to see the steam. That's one of the things that they really look for in Brazil, which is kind of interesting. So we've learned a lot about the global market recently, too, and it's neat to see these different design elements be appreciated, which is really neat. So, yeah, we went with fast. I haven't broken mine yet. I've had my prototype for 6 months, and I'm a heavy hitter. Perfect cuts all the time.
Well, you know, I have my grinder sitting out as well, right? So usually I just kind of put it, because it's a metal grinder, I just kind of top it onto the metal grinder, and then it's sitting there, and it's perfect. It's just kind of like handy to go. And I like the fact that it's a little wider, you know, it's not a little tiny pen shape or kind of square or oval. It's like it fits in your hand so that you actually feel like you're holding onto something that's, I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely, yeah. Like I said, I've tried lots of them. Like I've had many, you know, gifted to me. I've had, you know, the reloads, the preloads, this load, and this is honestly, the best one that I've tried so far. So kudos to you guys, because this is the best unit I've ever used. So.
Well, you know, it was designed with cannabis connoisseurs in mind. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. Another thing that's kind of neat is we have the dual quartz coil, so you can actually get like a fairly decent hit. And in our feedback and our testing and everything else, a lot of people are transitioning from pipes with flower to a vaporizer with a concentrate or an extract. It's perceived as, you know, a better way, discreeter way, more flavorful way, more impactful way to consume. So we're right there and on it. And it was all based on feedback from the cannabis community. So we have so many people who shared their insights, and we have to be thankful for,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So thank you. So when you got your Shatterizer, what was the first thing you thought?
Wow. Really. And like I said, wow. And the first thing I was screwed because it was glass, right? And I thought, oh, this, because seriously, I touch it, it breaks. So I was a little bit apprehensive at first because of the fact that it was glass, because I'm a klutz. But other than that, I really thought that, and then the capping. I think that was another thing that really impressed me, is that there's a cap on the top of your bowl, so that, it's not splattering all over the glass, right? And it's easy to clean, because I just take one of my 420 ISO wipes and I just take the bowl, wipe it inside the glass, roll it up, throw it into because it's got a ceramic bowl. Like you sent me ones with the coil as well, and I find the coils are okay, but that ceramic bowl, oh, what a hit, because that one is so easy to clean. You know that you're not getting any, I don't know, there's always a bit of a back taste on the coil. I don't know what it is. With this, with the bowl, with that ceramic bowl, there's no back taste. You get the full taste of your extraction, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you got crappy extraction, you're going to taste it in there. And if you've got really good extraction, you're going to taste it. So that's why I really like that bowl.
I've never met cannabis I didn't like. I never met a cannabis concentrate I didn't like. Well, like everything tasted sad.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, I've got some homemade that was brought as a gift to me, and it's got a really green taste to it, like green, and because it was made with probably leaf rather than bud, and you can really taste the green in that. So it does give you the bad and the good, and that's good though, because then you actually know what you're smoking, and you can taste anything that's in it. So that's what I found too with that ceramic bowl. It was really gives you the flavor, right? A good flavor if it's good, and a really not so good taste if it's not so good. So we do have a lot of people out here that try and patients that make their own and like to pass it on.
Yes.
So.
Yes, there are a lot of people who are making their own extracts and condensing their cannabis, and I hope that everyone's doing that incredibly safely. And there are a lot of fantastic brands that are emerging, and a lot of really delicious products out there on the marketplace. It's amazing to see. I mean, we've traveled around Ontario, and we've tasted some of the best. And I mean, you being out there in BC, I mean, you must get all kinds of lovely homemade things. And a shout out to Nova Scotia. We've tasted some of Nova Scotia's finest craft cannabis concentrates, and they are delicious too.
So
you must be getting a variety of delicious things. Any rosin?
Actually, I don't. I actually don't get a lot. No, I don't. That's one thing. I don't encourage people to send me anything. I don't, just because of the fact that I was busted a few years ago, like about 10, for mailing out cannabis. And so since that time, I tell people to be really mindful and careful if they're going to. And I never really ask people to send me anything because I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I just, I appreciate it.
For patients. That's a great tip for patients. You know what? We're so lucky. We're learning so much all the time from everybody about different things and different treatments and different best practices. And it's just so neat to be able to connect and learn so much. Like, we learn new things all the time, you know, and there's more science coming out all the time as to what's anecdotal. You know, people accomplish a lot of great things when they feel better. And we're happy to be a device that's used medicinally, recreationally, you know, in your free time, you know, in the morning, 7, 10, 4:20. You know, we're thankful for all the positive feedback we've gotten, you know?
Well, it's hard breaking into the business, I would think, being that there are so many other, you know, devices out there, and having, you know, the opportunity to bring one of the best ones forward. It must be mind-blowing to have so many people say, you know, yours is ultimately, you know, one of the best ones we've tried. So, because it is, that must be a really hard market. Like, I'm not in the industry per se myself. I can't imagine how hard and competitive.
We've got to talk about your trip. We've got to talk about your trip. Let's stop right there. Where are you going tonight? What's going on? You're leading.
I am heading to the legalization roundtables that are being held by Health Canada, and the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partner Society was invited, and I'm going. So tomorrow,
right here.
Yeah. So yeah. But let's shout out to Ross Middleton too. He did a lot of work to get us where we are, and also we did a national task force as well. That was also the Haley Rose Foundation and the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, and we put together a proposal. Exactly. And actually MCPCA at the time was also involved. So there was more than just us involved in this. It's not just me per se. There's a whole bunch of us that have worked hard to get to, us to where we are. And we're a team and we work as a team. And Ross went out to Ottawa last week and was sitting at the round tables as well. And he pinpointed a few weak points when he was there that I'm going to reiterate when I get out there. It's apparently a very intimate talking point where you can actually, hear what they're going to say. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they're planning on rolling out. I'm a bit apprehensive being a patient as well as, wanting to see the recreational market go as well. Like, I'm not saying that, that's not a good thing. There's a few points in the legalization policies, C45, that I don't like. And then there's also C46, which is the driving one. And there's two separate bills that I don't know if everybody's aware of, but there's C45, which is the actual legalization of cannabis. And there's also C46, which is the drunk driving and the impairment driving laws. So there are a few things that we want to touch, on, as well as, seeing and hearing what they've got to say. So I'm excited to go. Don't get me wrong. I'm overly excited to go. I get to go and, see a few friends as well while I'm out there. But the point of my trip is to go to these legalization roundtables and hear what they have to say.
Wow. Well, we can hardly wait for you to say what you have to say. And then
I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I'm going to live broadcast while I'm out there on Facebook. And I don't normally do that, but I want to be able to bring people with me as I go, right? And see if they can learn with me. Because like I said, this is a team effort. This is something for the patients. It's for everybody. We don't sit on our pedestals and say, yeah, look at me, I get to go. We want to make sure that everybody's involved. So I plan on doing some live broadcasting, live tweeting, and keeping everybody updated as I can, right? I don't know, like I said, during the talks, how much I'll be able to get done, but I'm going to be using my phone as a platform. I don't have paper to take with me, printing off stuff. I'm just going to use my phone. So hopefully that way I can maybe record some of the, and videotape some of the talks as well. So that's something that I'm, wanting to bring forward to everybody, that, we're here to try and make some amendments if we can, but I want to hear what they have to say and go from there.
Yeah, it's a democratization of knowledge and listening to everybody's perspective, because there are a lot of stakeholders. I mean, how we regulate, all of these things is wonderful. I'm so glad that you'll be contributing. That's amazing.
Well, thank you.
And we'll be following you live.
It's a real honor to be going, quite honestly. It's a real honor to be going. Like, when I got the invitation, I almost fell out of my chair. I thought it was actually my junk mailbox, and I thought it was a joke. Like, I did. I honestly thought that it was like, this isn't for me. Like, this is spam. And then I sent it off to Ross, and he says, no, I've got one too. He says, this is real. And I went, oh. So I RSVP'd right away, and we got our seats, and so it was great to be able to do that. So, and to be able to go is, it's phenomenal, because I don't get to leave my house that often and actually go and do stuff. In the last few years, I've been fortunate, but, being a mom, you don't get to just pack up and take off whenever you want to. But on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. I'd like to thank my sponsors, who are 12 High Chicks Magazine, MUM, the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partner Society, and the Haley Rose Foundation. We're going to be listening to the 'Killing Time Band, Don't Be Bitter, and we'll be right back after the break.
following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Nothing? Why not? I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it. You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Pissing you off, don't get angry. No. Reach in your pocket and get stoned, my friend.
Okay.
Don't be bitter, just smoke a one-hitter. The whole world's going down a shitter. It don't mean no thing, it ain't another white chicken away. Listen to the words I'm singing. Yeah, everybody knows when your temper blows, just take a step back when it comes to blows. And baby, just rethink it. Don't let us spoil overstuffed soup, ruin your buzz or lift your boots. Just turn your eyes and forget it. Don't be bitter, just smoke the one-hitter. The whole world's going down the shitter. It don't mean no thing, it ain't another white chicken away. Listen to the words that I'm singing. Let's get some picking, y'all. Listen, my friend, here's what to do. Just smoke this shit and feel amazing. I forget all the hot big farmers alive. Take a big toke, reach for the sky, and baby, just forget it. Don't be bitter, just smoke a one-hitter. Whole world's going down the shitter. It don't mean no thing, it ain't another my chicken away. Listen to the words that I'm singing. Do it again. Don't be bitter, just smoke a one-hitter. Whole world's going down the shitter. It don't mean no thing, it ain't another my chicken away. Listen to the words that I'm singing. Oh
I'll
yeah.
just have to talk lower. And then go.
Control yourself.
I'm trying to. I'm trying. It's
C-A-A rocket go up in the stock market.
yeah, I have people asking me who to invest in. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Just tell them to go with the top three. Those are your safe bets. And those that happen to be the ones that are going to rock it. Aurora,
Yeah.
Alfira, and Tweed.
Tweed. Yeah.
Well, Canopy. Yep.
Well, that's what I figured. Canopy, right?
Yeah, well, you know what? Aurora's going to bounce back because of this thing here. The other two are tanking because of that as well, because there are other things going on. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the minute there's an official announcement, the stock market's either going to tank or it's going to skyrocket. And I feel it's going to skyrocket because you know what? Nobody has a fucking choice.
Yes,
Anyways, we're alive,
exactly.
and I shouldn't be talking like that. So there you go. Here's your show back.
Are we on the air?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we on the air?
Yeah.
Okay, we're back, I guess. With Val, we were talking about the Shatterizer and my trip to Vancouver and the fact that legalization is right around the corner here. And, you know, we've got 3 readings passed into Parliament. It's sitting in the Senate right now. You know, with all these, there's also provincial talks going on. I believe there's something on Friday in Vancouver as well about microcrafting roundtables as well going on at the provincial level. So there are a lot of things going on right now with legalization. Val, how do you guys feel about where the market's going to take you guys?
Well, the market is growing and growing and growing. And we're excited to see how many people are kind of coming out of the canna closet across generations and who are vaporizing and asking great questions and learning new things. And the market's going up. That's the way we'll speculate, you know?
And I think that's what we all have to do, is kind of speculate. Apparently, when we were talking on the break, apparently listeners were hearing us all. But anyways, you know, some good tips, I guess, on the backside of our show, maybe, and maybe not so good. So, you know, I think it's going to be a different scenario coming up here after legalization. I think things are, like I said, either going to tank or they're going to take off. And let's hope that there's not over regulations going to be put onto everything so that nobody can actually be entrepreneurs. And I think that's how we should, you know, try and get that across, that people that do dispensary work or have, you know, Shatterizers or vaporizers or bong stores or vapor lounges. But back to that, Bill 174 was passed in Ontario yesterday provincially, making it so that they will not allow dispensaries and vapor lounges. And that's disheartening, because Ontario is one of the biggest provinces population-wise in our country. And if that government isn't seeing where this is beneficial, that's small business growth and entrepreneurialism, you have to wonder where their heads are at. Like, is it just about taxation and over-regulation, or is it really, you know, trying to get people away from the black market and protecting the children? And that's, you know, where they've been going with this, is it's all about safety and all about protecting children. And to me, it just seems like they're overbearing on that point with prevention, when it should be education and research. I don't know. That's my kind of stance on it.
Agreed. And if you look at some of the case studies that are coming out of Colorado, there are certain statistics that are beginning to be shared because the data hasn't existed before, let's face it. This is all new things. And we should look to markets like Colorado, Washington, Oregon, places where they fused recreational and medicinal, and there are 2 streams of patients that they're taking care of excellently. You know, there are 2 separate entrances. There are 2 different price points. You know, there's a whole bunch of money that's coming in through the government systems that they're reinvesting in education and healthcare, you know. So, to marijuana, how would you encourage people in Ontario to get involved? You know,
well, I think I understand what and I think there are a lot of people in Ontario already at that level. Like, we've got people like, you know, Lisa Campbell and Tracy Curley and Amy Brown, and there are a number of great Russell Barth, Christine Lowe. There are hundreds of great activists out in Ontario. Al, and I mean, I could just name Ross. I could name off 100 of them on my hand right now. And it's not, I don't think that they haven't been trying really hard. I think it's that nobody's listening. So what I encourage people to do is get out from behind your computer, and I will say this to everybody across the country, and go and speak to your MLA, your MP, because ultimately this is coming from the provincial level now. The feds have said, okay, we're going to go ahead with this. Legislation's gone through, Parliament's gotten it. You know, now you're talking to your federal or your provincial levels. You need to get into your MLA's office. You need to talk to your local council, because there are some areas that might say, hey, we don't want marijuana being grown in our town. And I think you know that from Colorado. Being in Colorado, certain counties have opted out and didn't, want to be involved in the cannabis industry. And now they're screaming about not getting new roads and new schools when other counties have got new roads and new schools. So this is something I think that everybody has to, take in hand, that they have to talk to their local governments, because you don't want them opting out. I mean, you don't want a pot store next to a school. That, I totally understand. There's got to be some regulation to this.
Absolutely.
But when you got a liquor store a half a block away from the school, where's the whole, why are they not doing that whole thing with alcohol and marijuana put together, like where they want to put it into the LCBO or wherever the heck they think that they're going to put it. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it being mixed with alcohol. People use cannabis to get off of alcohol, that stay away from alcohol. I don't think that somebody that it shouldn't be being done that way. And I feel that privatized stores would be the best route to go, but then again, regulations, right? So where's the regulations going to be, and how? And I think, like I said, the best advice I can give anybody is talk to your local, talk to your provincial, and write a letter, send an email, make a phone call. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to just do that. And I mean, a lot of people I know do that anyways. But on the other hand, if we have 10 more people that didn't normally do that everywhere, that's a huge impact. It only takes, 10, 20. It doesn't take a huge crowd. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, right? I always said, one mindful person can change everything. So let's be that one person. So what about, where are you guys heading this week? Have you got anything exciting going on?
We've had such an exciting year. It's been an amazing one. I would like to do a shout out to some of the amazing other female entrepreneurs and people who are in the cannabis, who are trying to advocate through things like delicious cooking. The High Society Supper Club. Want to say hello to Rena. She has been baking the most delicious queen bee weedables, and she's been doing a lot of things for patients across the board. So it was amazing to meet her, and through her, we met Precious Chong, Tommy Chong's daughter, and she is just a riot, and we could not help but laugh with her, and she has a Shatterizer, which she quite enjoys. And when I had the opportunity to meet her through her performance, I was shaken like a leaf because I was so nervous, because she was like one of my biggest heroes ever, because she's a darling daughter of the cannabis revolution, and she's just so funny about it, and she shares that female perspective. So I think what's great about the political movement is there are so many lovely female role models and female entrepreneurs that are kind of emerging. So I have a question for you, just to think a little bit more fun about things. Who would be a celebrity that you would want to Shatterize with? I have to ask.
Well, there's a couple, actually. I think I'd really want to Shatterize with Whoopi Goldberg and Melissa Etheridge, actually. And, of course, Precious Chong, too. She's amazing. But, and not being discriminatory against the men and all, but I've met Tommy Chong and not Shatterized with him, but have smoked a joint with Tommy Chong before. Okay. So I've already had my epic celebrity moment with the Chong. So it would have to be his daughter, the next best, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And she's amazing. And she's putting such a lovely spin on things. And she is just she's so funny. She really is a riot. Just to quote some of her comedy, you can only imagine the mother-daughter conversations. And there's going to be a lot of mother-daughter conversations going on about cannabis in the coming times. Like, me and my mom have had some great conversations about cannabis. But can you imagine if your mom was married with Mrs. Chong? She's like, she's like, I had to ask my mom about, how much, marijuana there must have been like, and she's like, Precious, really not that much, Precious, really not that much marijuana. She's like, a pound of coffee, a pound of sugar, and everyone just could not stop laughing. She was just so funny and so fashionable and so female forward. And I mean, I've got to once again do a shout out to the High Society Supper Club, because it was just the funnest event. We got to meet so many great people like Cushberry and Chris of Leafy Meds, and just so many amazing people out there that were there.
That's the thing with Toronto, right? Like, there's so many talented people, and the pop-up markets, and the things that go on. I just think it's terrific. And the worst part about me living out in here, and population of 20,000, there's just not the population to do that kind of stuff here. But boy, I sure would like to. It just sounds like so much fun. And these pop-up dinner clubs, like with cannabis infused food, like that is the most amazing stuff ever. But that's how that's how things have changed. Like, I've been doing this now since 2007. And when I got started, there was mail order through some of the dispensaries. You had to have a license. The edible market was really non-existent. Like, some of us baked cookies. I think Amy Anonymous was one of the very first ones that I really ever, had the opportunity of trying her stuff. Treating Yourself magazine was still having their expos, and things were different. Now, 10 years later, we're looking at the cusp of legalization or overregulation or prohibition 2.0, or however you want to slice it. For some of us, I think we feel we're being taken back. But for the general population, they're feeling like, man, I can go smoke a joint and I'm not going to have to worry about getting busted. I think that's where we have to look at it. The mainstream really feels like this is a win. Like, we can walk around with 30 grams of pot. That's an ounce. Where before, we always had that mindset, under 28 grams, it's a fine, not a big deal. You still have a criminal record. It's still a big deal. Now, you won't have to worry about that criminal record. That will, and hinder your job, your ability to travel. There's so many basic good things. Of course, there's the backside of not selling to underage and, the impaired driving. But for the average person, I think they're really, happy about the fact that they're not going to get charged.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing for a lot of people, is the fact that a lot of people are still in the closet because of their jobs, because of the fact that they don't want to get busted for a joint. And I think that's something that they really, are looking at as a good thing. So for some of us, we don't think it's a great thing. For many other people, they think it's terrific.
Yeah. That's another thing about why I think vaporizing is on the rise, because it's very, 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 it's a discreeter way to consume. You don't have the odor that comes along with things. So in a way, we're a device that's kind of geared around being targeted to that professional consumer too,
Right.
I used to wear a suit in a previous life.
Hey, me too. Right?
Yeah.
I think many of us have. We've all, many of us have had the mainstream job where you worked in an office and you had to be there 9 to 5 every day. I did as well. But, and that's one of the reasons why I left that job, is because I was consuming cannabis. They started drug testing. I drug tested positive for marijuana. They sent me to ADAC for a 6-week try and clean up and then re-drug test you. And if you pass, then you keep your job. And if you don't, you don't. I quit. I just went, no, I'm not doing this. It's okay for all the rest of you to go and get shit-faced drunk every night after work, but it's not okay for me to go home and smoke a joint. And this was long before I started in the cannabis community. So that was my first, I guess, stance, is I'm not giving up something that makes me feel better for a job. And I walked away, and it was a good job, like one of the best jobs I've ever had in my life. And I walked away from it because of pot. And some people think that might be ridiculous, but it was going to be infringing on my health no matter how I looked at it. And I just, I chose my health and quality of life over a job.
Good for you. Good.
It's not an easy thing to do when you're a single mom with kids, right? And that's, the unfortunate thing. I did have kids, and my kids are older now. But that being said, like, if I'm not healthy, I can't take care of my kids. So I did find another job that, didn't drug test and, wasn't quite as well paying, but I still, kept going. And we all do. You all, move on. I guess that my philosophy is a job's just a job. You were looking for that one when you found that one. So I have a different philosophy, I guess, on some things when it comes to that, because I just think quality of life outweighs everything.
And it really does. And the other side of it is look at what you've done professionally to advocate, to share what you've been through, to empower others. Like, that's a whole role unto itself that you should, kind of take into account.
Right. Right.
We're moving out of the professional in the traditional sense. I mean, working in a startup cannabis environment, I mean, it's a lot of fun, and I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to be in this realm of employment and employing the two things that I love, technology and cannabis, right?
Absolutely. Okay, on that note, hon, we're going to take another quick break. So again, I'm going to thank my sponsors, who are 12 High Chicks Magazine, MUM, the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, and the Haley Rose Foundation. We're going to have the Killin' Time Band again, Policeman. We'll be right back.
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Policemen always come and take my lead. 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 I am just a man who is doing what he can, but policemen always come and take my lead. What's a boy to do when instead of red I'm blue? Policemen always come and take my lead. Policemen always come and take my lead.
talking a little bit over the break. We were talking about MUM, Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana. So MUM has been in existence, I think, since 2000. Debbie Stoltz-Giffen and Chris Backer, Marcel Gagnac, John Price. There's all kinds of, that's, I think, just some of the members of their board of directors. I am a member, but because I don't live in Nova Scotia, of course, but, you know, I'm still a member of the group. But those people do amazing work out there.
They really do. And they really, really do. And I just want to do a shout out to Marcel, who has putting scientific testing to the greatest forefront with the Shatterizer and the competition. It's kind of funny. There's a vape pen for every occasion, of course. And we love reading what Marcel has to say as a reviewer, you know. So you should check him out for sure on Facebook if you get a chance. And,
yeah, Marcel's...
go ahead.
Marcel's also a co-host on Lifestyle Radio that's on Friday nights on this station as well. So if you want to hear Marcel, you can hear him on the show.
And I hear that Al Graham was a Lyft award member. What was it?
Yeah.
That happened, the big show. What was
Pace
that?
Radio. Pace Radio won, I think it was second. Yeah, second for, or third. It was third place for the best podcast in Canada by Lyft Magazine, which is awesome.
Second place. It was second place.
Oh, was it second?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. It was second place. Thank you, Al. So, you know, Pace Radio got a shout out too. So, and Al's been doing that for a long time as well. So, yes, huge shout out to Al Graham and Kim Cooper and Mary Jane Baker and Alicia. There's so many. Our team is growing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's a testament to how well you are spreading word over cannabis and coffee. So Matt and I were actually at the awards show, which was kind of a riot. We sat in the very last row and we kind of watched everything unfold there. So we clapped extra loud. And on our way out the door, we were like, oh my gosh, and looked down at the carpet. And there was a roach on the carpet, and we couldn't stop laughing. So, of course, we're like, oh, my gosh, there's a roach on the carpet at the Carloo. And a woman was walking by, and, of course, she thought it was like a cockroach. And there's no way there'd be a cockroach on the red carpet at the Carloo. However, after the Cannabis Awards show, there was absolutely a roach that got stuck to the red carpet. So that's on our Instagram, #Shatterizer. So
That's
we were
hilarious.
there, and we clapped extra loud for you guys, and we're super proud of you. So yeah, we were there.
That's excellent. That's good to hear because I didn't even hear about the awards. Quite frankly, I didn't even know that they existed. But that's the thing. Like, we're all in our bubbles, right? We all live in Canada's such a vast country. Right? Yeah, a perfect cloud. We all live in a cloud. And because Canada is so large, we have all of this, little pockets of activism going on. Another shout out we'll give today, since today seems to be the shout out day, is to Brittany Edwards and Drew Ray. They just opened it's Kootenay Cannabis out in Creston. And they're just, a young couple that are trying to make awareness and educate out there, as well as the fact that there's a small dispensary that just opened out in Erickson too. So that's a milestone for this area because we do have the two dispensaries out in Kimberley, but Cranbrook isn't allowed to have one yet. Yet now we've got another one just west of us. So it's an hour west of us. So it's a little closer than Nelson per se, but it's also, if you're looking for some different options in the area, you can definitely, check them out too. So there's a lot of good things coming, I think. And I think that we should be optimistic. I think that patients are a little bit nervous, and I don't blame them because I think, the whole legalization, because quite frankly, and I'm not, I'm having issues with a doctor renewing my CMPR because apparently with legalization, we're not going to need them. And that's not right. And that's another point I'm going to make when we're in these talks, that patients still are going to need their designated growers. But Ross had also told me that designated growers aren't going anywhere. So that's a very good positive, sign for legalization coming forward, right? We don't want to leave the patients out because there are many patients that need more than 4 plants. they need more than 30 grams. Even the storage limit that we still have, or not storage, but our traveling limit, they've never changed that from 150 grams. Whereas prior to that, we could travel with our storage, right? So not that I'm saying that people should be driving around with 14 pounds of pot in their vehicle, but, let's be real. Sometimes if you're going on a long trip, 150 grams isn't enough. So there are, a lot of different aspects, I think, that have to be amended. But I feel in time, within the next 2 years, maybe 3, we'll see a lot of the kinks that we're finding in the program, kind of rolled out a little better. We don't know what the next election is going to bring too, and that's another uncertainty, because if we change governments again, how is that going to affect Bill C-45? And are they going to repeal it? So we have still work to do, because there's no guarantee that this, legislation is going to be set in stone forever if we get a different government.
A lot is in transition, and a lot is changing. No, you have these wonderful, I'm so glad that you're speaking on behalf of so many of us. This is really, really exciting. It's pretty amazing that there are these entrepreneurs who are kind of taking the risk and creating these safe spaces where people in the cannabis community can connect. And although we're doing it over the radio and whatnot, thank you for leaning in at the table tonight and going in person and broadcasting so that we can all tune in and watch. So far today, I've learned about C-45, C-46, B-147. 12 high chicks. So many different organizations that are seeming to come together and try to at least allow the culture, the cannabis culture, to eventually speak to the politics of it, which is pretty interesting.
Well, I think over the last years, there's been so many of us trying to talk to them. I'm sure that there's a lot of us that have gotten a lot closer to where we should be. I know that Kurt Tusaw is going to be at the same talks that I am tomorrow. I guess it'll be tomorrow. I'm hoping to catch up with him and have a little talk, just to say hello and see where he does keep us updated a lot on Facebook, which is extraordinary for somebody who's a lawyer that takes the time to update patients on Facebook on his personal page often. So thanks to Kurt Tusaw as well for keeping patients and people up to date as best as he can, which is something we all need. I think that's a security issue, that a lot of people are feeling a lot insecure about what's going on, because it is an uncertain time. Because, in reality, like, Dana's still being charged for his seeds. They came back, now the Crown's come back and wanting to, appeal that, for the longevity of the cannabis seed that he gave away in Calgary. So let's be clear, you can't even sell a bong legally in Canada still. Those laws are still on the books. Not that they really, actually enforce them very often. And seed sales are still not legal in Canada either. So again, not enforced often, but when they are, you see that. You see that now they're going, to reapply these charges against Dana for seeds, which is arbitrary. It's ridiculous. But in hindsight, we're dealing with the justice system, which is the injustice system. So we have a lot of, like I said, we still have a lot of work to do. Legalization is not going to be a huge party for many of us. It'll be a party for some. Like I said, many people really are seeing this as a positive step forward. I too see it as a positive step forward. It's not perfect, but no bill is ever perfect when it's first coming out of the gate anyway. It's just something you have to live with. So let's get back to what you guys are, what's your next steps here in the future, because we're down to our last 5 minutes, and let's see what are you guys looking forward to in the future?
Well, we're coming up to the holidays here. So we just put a little blog post up, The Grinch's Guide to Your Shatterizer Gadget. It does come fully assembled, partially charged, out the gates for the holiday season. So we're looking forward to the holidays, that's for sure. There are a lot of really amazing parties and things like that coming up too. We're happy to be going to out to the Hamilton Vape Lounge next Sunday for one of their markets. I mean, Peacemaker 420 is hosting a food drive, which is amazing. Like, there are a lot of things to be celebrated over the next couple weeks. And it's also the end of our first year in business, which is fantastic. So 365 days of Shatterizing, I mean, is coming up on the 31st.
Congratulations. That's terrific.
Yeah.
Now we have a little promotional special for anybody who would like to get a Shatterizer. And we're going to offer, what was that again? 10% off with the promotional code, Val?
We're going to actually offer their choice of a ceramic coil or a borosilicate top glass piece. If they use your promo code, which we will shout out after the show. So we will share that. It'll be hashtag Tamarijuana. How do you spell that? TAMARIJUANA, right?
Right.
And they will get a complimentary ceramic coil if they purchase their Shatterizer using that hashtag code from www.shatterizer.ca.
Excellent. So that's hashtag Tamarijuana will get you a promotional free coil bowl or ceramic bowl coil. Sorry. And those are the best. Like I'm going to tell you, those are the best. So that's hashtag Tamarijuana on www.shatterizer.ca will get you that free ceramic bowl. Well, I'd like to thank you guys again so much for being on the show. It's always a pleasure to, learn so much about you and as well your product. And do you have other units besides just the one that you sent me, or is that the main one that you have?
Oh, what a great question. Thank you so much for asking. Good news coming in 2018. The Shatterizer. The Shatterizer is our favorite. We have just launched this year, and, we're working on a couple different things. But the feedback from the community has been so good. We're not rushing things or development. I mean, good news to come in 2018.
That's awesome. Well, 2018 hopefully is going to be a better year for some, an extraordinary year for others. But let's wish everybody a great Christmas, because I'm probably not going to be on next week because I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to decide whether we're going to be on next week or not. We haven't really discussed that because it's right before Christmas. So I'm not sure if we're taking holidays or not.
Well,
I guess we better figure that out.
Well, good luck in Vancouver tonight. You'll probably have to do a show next week because there'll be so much follow-up and questions, after your live broadcast tonight. I mean, wishing you well on that trip, and thank you for contributing and carrying the conversation forward.
Yeah, well, thank you for being on the show. And yes, I will be doing some live broadcasting, which normally I said don't normally do. But I think that patients would like to, and people in general, like I'm not just using that patient thing, that model anymore, because I think everybody uses cannabis for some sort of medicinal reason anyway, even if it's just to sleep, eat, or, just enjoy. Like, I'm tired of the label. And, and I've been saying that for a few years, but for everybody that uses cannabis, I'm going out to Vancouver to speak for all of us. So, and if I get a chance to speak, I might just be sitting there not doing anything. But we'll find out when I get there. But I will be doing some live broadcasting. So again, thanks to you. And to also thank my sponsors, who are 12 High Chicks Magazine, MUM, the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, and the Haley Rose Foundation. You all have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week. You all have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not? Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it. You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
Who's your leader? What?
cold Transformers, He-Man and G.I. Joe's on me. Superman cape round the neck, you can't harm me. A hot school lunch costs $1.25. Gray stains on the high from the ride on the slip and slide. Ice cream trucks play my favorite tunes, cause they kept us cool from the month of June until school started up again. Reconnect with all your friends, make a few new ones and peep out all the newest trends. Who got the hottest shoes, backpack?